Good afternoon and happy Saturday, everyone. I'm meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with your latest on what's going on with Tropical Storm Beta. Of course, that's where our attention is right now. So this is an infrared satellite imagery showing the Gulf of Mexico and Tropical Storm Beta. Right now, max sustained winds are at 60 miles per hour, but you'll notice that this system is moving stationary. So that's something that we will have to monitor, and it's not unexpected for that stationary motion or lack of motion thereof to happen. So there's actually quite a bit of wind shear in the area, and I'll just show you right about now. There's some wind shear, almost looks like a little slug, extending from around Louisiana into the Gulf of Mexico, and that's inhibiting sort of that motion, and it's also bringing some moisture into our area. So we're already seeing some of that tropical rain, and we're also seeing some winds as well, some gusty winds, and those are going to be our primary impacts going forward starting today, really. So I'll show you a look at the track and what the National Hurricane Center is currently saying, because right now there is still a lot that's really going on as far as uncertainty is concerned. So through the next 2 days, there's a lot of confidence that the system is going to move toward the west, toward the Texas coastline. But after that, there's still a lot of uncertainty, almost the entire state of Louisiana within that cone. And once it does get to Louisiana, it looks like it is expected to become a tropical depression with lower wind speeds, but still producing a lot of rain in the area, and of course gusty winds. So we're primarily expecting the most impacts Wednesday through Friday, but we're still going to see those impacts as we go through. So I'll start off with wind. That's going to be one of the main threats, and we're already seeing some gusty winds here. This is over the last 24 hours. We saw about 23 mile per hour wind gusts, 28 in Lafayette, 29 in Lake Charles, Homa at 30. Over in Houston, one of the areas that will see some impacts as the system does approach the Texas coastline, seeing wind gusts at about 26 miles per hour. And I'll show you one of our models and what they're saying as far as potential wind gusts are. And this is gusts, not maximum sustained winds. So Grand Isle potentially at 48 mile per hour winds, 28 mile per hour, 22 mile per hour winds here in Baton Rouge around 4 p.m. That increases to 29 in our area around 8 p.m. So as we go throughout the evening and overnight hours, still expecting strong winds in the area. Those numbers will continue to stay around that 30 mile per hour mark for us. But on Sunday, possibly in the afternoon hours, we're looking at 37 mile per hour winds. So it's a great idea to make sure to move your lawn furniture indoors or any outdoor belongings that could easily be picked up by winds. Just go ahead and move them inside, because wind is certainly going to be a factor, not just today and tomorrow, but pretty much for almost the entire upcoming week. So this is something that you will want to keep track of, and you still have lots of time to prepare for this system. Now I'll show you a look at the Doppler radar once this runs through. So with the Doppler radar, you can see lots of moisture in the area, and I'll zoom in a little more so that you can see more of the state. Here in Baton Rouge, we are starting to quiet out. A few areas saw almost a mist this morning, but a lot of the rain has been centered along the coastal areas, and that's what we expect going forward. But still, rain is certainly a possibility in our area, and the Weather Prediction Center has already said that we could see between 1 and 3 inches, possibly more rain over the next 3 days. And I'll show you, this is over the past 24 hours. These are rain totals. Again, those higher amounts are along the coast. I'll take a look at Homa. Saw about 1.5 inches, and I'll zoom into the area in green in Baton Rouge, East Baton Rouge, 1.4 inches. And as we look a little bit closer to downtown, lower amounts, 1/2 inch. But the point is that the grounds are wet, they're somewhat saturated, and that's going to make the threat for flooding a little bit higher. That's something that we will have to monitor in the coming days. And just to show you again what that track is saying as far as where the storm could go, very wide cone at this time, and showing you some of these spaghetti models. There is pretty much an agreement that the system is going to move toward the Texas coastline, possibly around Corpus Christi. That's where we could see landfall until it begins to make a northeastern turn. Where exactly it goes is still very uncertain at this point, but just to show you potential landfall timing This is the GFS model, which has been doing well this hurricane season. Possibly Monday night, that system making landfall again near Corpus Christi, and then continuing to move toward the northeast, bringing us some rain to our area through the end of the week. So that's something that we're going to need to monitor, and I'll show you what we're looking at over the next 1 to 3 days. This is from the Weather Prediction Center. They estimate between 1.5 and 2.5 inches, although of course those amounts could be higher locally. 5 to 7 in some spots along the coast, and around New Orleans 2 to 4 inches. Areas around Mississippi and coastal Alabama looking at just half an inch. But of course these numbers will increase as we make it through the upcoming weeks. So I'll show you what we're expecting over the next 7 days according to the Weather Prediction Center. Many areas in the state looking at 5 to 7 inches, possibly some higher amounts. And when we look toward the center of that storm, around 10 plus inches. So there is the potential for lots of rain in the area. If there is heavy rain at times, then that increases the chance for flash flooding. And that's something that we will have to monitor. And just to show you another model, this is the GFS, or the American model. And as far as rainfall totals are concerned, you can see those numbers starting to climb, especially as we get to the second half of the week. We're looking at almost 7 inches here in East Baton Rouge. Gonzales around 7.5 inches. Bellchase almost at 7. Thibodaux very close to that 8-inch mark. Morgan City and New Iberia and Abbeville all around 8 inches of rain. So the coastal areas are going to see the highest rainfall totals. That is something that we expect over the coming days, so keep that in mind. There is the potential for lots of rain in the area. And just to take a look at some of the alerts that have been issued, these are mainly tropical storm watches and tropical storm warnings. So areas in the yellow under that tropical storm watch, areas in the blue under that tropical storm warning, and that does include some of our coastal areas where you see that almost manila tan color. That is for a wind advisory, meaning that strong winds are expected, but not quite tropical storm force winds. And note that these watches and warnings could increase, or the watches I should say, can become tropical storm warnings in the coming days. That's just something that we are going to have to monitor. No alerts in our area as of right now, but that's something that could change, especially once we know where that eye of the storm is going to move. We're also looking at storm surge watches and warnings, as well as coastal flood advisories. So unfortunately, there is the possibility of storm surge around the Lake Charles area. That area, of course, just got hit by Laura not that long ago, so this could potentially complicate recovery efforts. It's something that we will need to monitor in areas in the hot pink under that storm surge warning, mainly in Texas. Now, you see the lime green for coastal flood advisories. That extends for most of the coastline just outside of that storm surge watch, and it's a very, very busy picture as far as what's going on in the Atlantic as of right now. There are a few more named storms. There's post-tropical Alpha, which is moving around Spain at this moment, so really not a concern for us. There's also Hurricane Teddy, which is a major hurricane at this point, winds at 120 miles per hour with gusts of 150 miles per hour. That system is expected to stay away from the U.S., so that's some good news. And then Tropical Storm Wilfred, very small at this point, but that system's expected to degenerate into a tropical depression possibly by Monday afternoon. And we are monitoring really just one area of concern. There was this disturbance that we were monitoring, but the National Hurricane Center has said that this is no longer a concern. So by the next update, which comes out around 7, we likely won't see this wave in the forecast. Now, taking a look at this area in orange, the 50% chance of development over the next 2 days, 60% over the next 5 days. So a medium chance of formation for the system. We will continue to monitor it. Right now, very far from our area and really not posing much of a threat. And of course, we are monitoring beta, but otherwise, minus those 2 waves, really not too much going on. And the next name on the list is Gamma. So we've crossed off 23 names. It's been very active, a year full of firsts. So Beta was the earliest name. Beta, we only went into the Greek alphabet one other time, and of course that was in 2005. So It has been a record year. Always make sure that you have your plan in place and make sure to stay hurricane ready. We always like to say prepare, do not panic. Make sure that you stock up on water and batteries and always check your generator. Plan for a category higher. Right now we're expecting this to remain a tropical storm, but plan for a category 1 hurricane just in case. Always check your yard and make sure to move outdoor belongings inside or anything that can easily be picked up by wind. That's just something that we always recommend and something I recommend to do even right now, because there are some wind gusts possibly looking at close to 40 miles per hour tomorrow, and wind gusts will continue through the upcoming week along with rain. So when we have the combination of rain and wind, there's always the possibility for widespread power outages. So the main thing is just be prepared. We'll have entire team coverage for this event, and of course we'll continue to provide you with updates on this system. Just make sure to have a plan in place and continue to monitor what's going on with the system. There still is so much uncertainty and so much that we have to continue to monitor as we go forward. But note that there is the potential for lots of rain in the area, so keep the umbrellas handy and just stay weather aware. Thank you so much for joining, and remember that you can always find more information on our website, brproud.com, and of course on our app, the BR Proud app on the web store. So again, stay safe and stay weather aware and enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Thanks.